AGI like removes the barrier for entry, you know, it removes that requirement that you possess, you know, a particular inclination to really study something, basically. And I can understand why people have such a knee-jerk reaction to this, you know, especially if they've spent years of their life,
On some days, this would smell just
becoming like
here.
skilled at something, and then something comes along that can just trivialize all those years of practice or whatever. But you have to understand this is irrational, you know. I saw today this you know, the chat GPT passing the medical exam thing, and someone's then gone a step further and optimized it to actually, you know, give medical advice and like act as an actual doctor, basically. And this is one of those ones where, at least with the artist one, you can kind of understand it to some extent, really, sort of, but not really, because there's so many applications of it that are just outside of actually just making art, and really artists should just shut the fuck up. Yeah, because art is not about that. Real art, human art, was never about being rewarded for your... Let me fucking get the coins, man, you stupid cunt. Oh my god. Jewed out of my coins. The irony. But
Yes. What did you need?
it's so like just wrong to see it, anyone like have this backlash towards the doctor thing, because anyone who spent time in hospitals knows this. Yeah, anyone who's been to hospital for an extended period or had like an extended serious illness that wasn't like, didn't require surgery or didn't immediately present itself, you know, as immediately solvable. Anyone who's experienced this knows that doctors don't fucking, you know, do anything really. Doctors do rote work, you know, it's just very expansive rote work. There's just a lot of like knowledge base that they need to absorb in order to do the rote work well. It's the exact thing that this AGI is perfect for optimizing to take over, because then you can just have nurses running the hospitals and just, you know, typing in symptoms and test results to a fucking computer, and they never even need to learn what it means. And they would be more effective than current fucking doctors. They're all fucking retarded idiots, man, because they're midwits. They think that they're really clever, but they've just memorized lots of things and been told that they're clever, basically, for memorizing all of these things. But it's just rote work. It's just putting shapes in holes. Like allowing, having like an artificial thing that can do this with no biases is actually better, because the way they do it, they fuck up all the time. They get people fucking killed all the time. Medical malpractice is isn't it, it's like the leading killer in America as far as I'm aware, or in the top 3 or something. And I think it is in the top like 5 at least here in the UK as well, or like it's in the top 5 at least, I think, for most countries. I think in many of them it's 1 or 2. So it's like, you have to ask yourself, what the fuck are these doctors doing? You know, I think on some level we have this. There is a ingrained response there to like fob that off as, oh well, they're human. Exactly, they're human. I mean, me having experienced it firsthand, I know that the they're human part isn't such a. It's not like a fucking side note. It's quite serious, the things that they do, because they're only human. It's not like just getting things wrong. It's like they overtly ignore you and like try to cause you harm because they don't believe that you deserve to be there taking up space. And then when it turns out that are seriously ill, and they find out that they were wrong and that they diagnosed you wrong, they don't even ever mention it. They never apologize or bring it up or anything. They just try and get you out of the hospital as fast as possible, to just get you out of their sight, because they feel so guilty. But they also just can't address it, because to address it would be to admit the fact that they're not some demigod savior of mankind here to rescue the poor idiots that don't know any better, that keep getting themselves sick and hurt. No, they're just a fucking idiot fucking cunt. And being faced with that, they just lose it, you know, because they're only human. But like, that's not something you can just excuse like that, you know. Them being only human kills people regularly, every day. Doctors have higher body counts than most fucking military, you know, employees. Most military employees would envy the body count of your average fucking doctor who's been working for a single year. Like, they kill more patients in a year than most men will ever do in their entire career in the army. Oh, you stupid bitch. How did you end up down there? No, fuck you. Just die, innit? I hate doctors, and I would be happier more than anything to see them wiped off the face of the earth by fucking AGI. I hate the term, man. AGI, AI, it's all bad. At least AGI has less, like... At least AGI has less immediate connotations, you know. AI is so programmed in people's brains.
Everything's been torn down. The whole place looks...
As like... You know what I mean? As like an actually sentient fucking machine. And people pushed these machine learning algorithms as AI, as like a marketing thing, to try and like insinuate that they had real power and real skill and intelligence, you know. Posted a thread on this the other day. I'm not even going to repeat myself on that, but I'm sure anyone that's fucking watching this follows me, so.
Do you know how beautiful something can be when it's tended by a master for hundreds of years? She would have hated to see it like this. Wait. Something's wrong with the moon dial here. Some of the crests are missing.
But doctors will be wiped out by this, you know, by this AGI. I think at least AGI doesn't have those connotations, so I'm happy to use that. They will be wiped out by that in the next like few years. I think mostly the only thing that really will be a barrier for it to happen will be doctors, you know, clinging hopelessly to their fucking uselessness, desperate to not have this ego trip of theirs taken away from them. Because like I say, that's what they do anyway. That is what being a doctor is. If you've seen it firsthand, you know that they're not doing anything spectacular. It's not House, you know. They're not House. They're not doing House. They're not coming up with majestical solutions to strange and incredulous diseases. Like, most of the time they're just fucking ignoring you, you know, because you don't fucking fit whatever model of thing that they specifically studied, and they just don't even want to address it. They just rather you just died in your bed, you know, and then they can just chalk it up as, oh well, a patient died, oh well, that happens every day, and they don't care. They get numb to that. What they're not numb to is fucking having it put in their face that they don't know how to save you, that they don't know how to help you. Whereas that would never happen to a machine. A machine would just run through the fucking courses, wouldn't it? It would just go through, first we do this, then we do that, then we do this. Are they better? Okay, then we do this, and then we do that, and then we do this. Are they better? Okay, then we do this, and then we do that. And eventually you fucking get the solution. But doctors just come up with the first fucking thing off their head, and if it doesn't work, you're fucked, mate. If you're not presenting you like, if your test results are like inconclusive, if you're, you know, if you're coming up with something's wrong but they can't tell, they just fob you off. They just rather send you home. Like, you can literally be in there. Look, I was in there unable to walk. I could not walk physically. Could not walk. Yeah. And the reason this was I had a spine infection. Well, I had an infection from getting shanked in the leg, and it had spread up my femoral nerves into my spine, and had like destroyed the nerves in my legs basically. But when I went in there, unable to walk, they basically just sent me home. Like they didn't do no blood tests on me the first time I went in there. They just sent me home. The second time I went to a different hospital, and they did some rudimentary blood tests, which, considering what I found out later, must have shown something. But whatever it was, it wasn't over the like barrier for them thinking I needed to be in hospital, which I could think of, okay, fine, if I wasn't like literally paralyzed, like unable to walk, you could kind of make that excuse. But it's like there's obviously something seriously wrong, you know. If someone can't walk, it's not like they've just come in with a little fucking bang on their elbow and their arm's not necessarily moving properly, but then they got some infection markers, but not too many, so you say, ah, fuck it, who cares, it's probably not that big a deal. No, I'm there like unable to fucking get out of bed and fucking move. I couldn't stand on my 2 feet. I couldn't. You put me on my 2 feet, I just fell over on my ass immediately. Like my knees would just buckle. Anyway, then I went back there a third time, and like I think by this point they must have seen something on the blood tests, more than just like because I was coughing and I couldn't sleep and I was feverish. Not that feverish, but I was like sweaty as fuck every time I woke up in the night, and I just wasn't good. Like I wasn't throwing up or anything, but like I was clearly sick, and they were telling me it was in my head. They were telling me it was a neurological disorder, because they told me to my face, they told me I had no infection markers, but that can't be possible, because 3 weeks after that my lungs collapsed and I was sent up to after a week, another week in an isolation room where they were trying to tell me I had TB and that it wasn't related to my legs. You see what I mean? You see how fucking stupid they are? Like no normal person would, no machine at least would think that. Someone comes in unable to walk, and then they get sick and throw up blood, and they're coughing up blood and their lungs are filling with fluid. Oh, those must be two completely unrelated things. No, it would just address the issue. It wouldn't put you in a room for a week and still deny you painkillers and still deny you further testing. You know? Anyway, eventually I had to have my lungs drained, and I was in there for like 6 months. It was just fucking ridiculous. And they never, at any point, did a doctor come in and say to me, you know, my bad. None of it. They just avoided me for the rest of the time I was in there. They shifted me off to some new doctors. They handed me over to one of the like professors, but there had already been one, you know, working on my thingy, on my case. They just gave me onto a different one, and no one ever brought it up again, you know. Cunts, all of them, the lot of them, cunts. Inherently cunts, like. So I'll be glad to see their jobs destroyed by AGI. My only hope is that it happens sooner rather than later, you know? The sooner it happens, the more people will be saved from them. The sooner it happens, less people will die at their hands. Same with the artists, you know, fuck them, man. You don't deserve to get paid for fucking drawing well, sorry. If there's another way to do it, you just don't. Your job's void. You don't get to stop technological advancement because you're scared you won't get commissioned anymore. If you loved art, you would not have that response. But they don't love art, you know.
I'm telling you, there's something strange with the moon dial.
They don't love art in the slightest. They love getting patted on the back for their art. And I know this because this is why I took so long away from music and from creating anything, period. Was because I realized I was like that. I realized the thing I liked about making music was that people liked that I made music. And it was coming from a place of disgenuous,
Very clever, Mother.
wanton desire. You know?
I've never been in those tunnels before, but I bet they run right under the courtyard and into the tower ruins.
And so I stopped because it was just silly. I don't want to make music for that. I don't want to be that. I don't want to be one of those people who are like that, just searching for validation and approval in everything they do. Fuck off. Die. Kill yourself. Die, please. Telling someone to kill themselves is not a death threat, you know. And the fact that it's we get told it's one now on like social media just because some people will literally kill themselves if you tell them to kill themselves.
What might be around.
Good. Good. I think if someone's that unstable, they like are a net negative. Their existence is a net negative, and it can only have positive, you know, results if they fucking jump off a bridge. Their death only serves the rest of us. And I think everyone understands this on some level, and they've just been taught that it's like morally wrong to not pander to people's fucking
We're getting close.
we were taught like that it's our responsibility, you know, to like pander to people rather than their responsibility to, you know, take care of themselves. Don't go into situations where people are going to tell you to kill yourself. Don't hang out online. Don't do it. Fuck off. Just don't hang out here. Sit in your little echo chamber, you know. Stay away from us. It just ties into everything these people have been taught, you know, that like...
Who's there? I knew I heard something.
Like that exclusivity is somehow wrong, you know, that wanting exclusive communities is somehow wrong.
That'll teach you.
I guess that's the same reason why these people lash out, you know, against AGI, because this is what it does. It removes the barrier for entry from their exclusive community. And it's these same people that will say, you know, that everyone should be allowed, you know, on the internet, that everyone has every right to be in every internet community and on every platform, and not be like chased off it by the indigenous members. And those are again the same people that will tell you that, you know, colonialists were wrong for coming and taking people's countries from them and populating it themselves and teaching and, you know, populating beliefs that were anathema to the original populace. Double think, you know, fucking libs. The fucking libs. I just can't think of a better word for them, you know. There is, I can't come up with a better word for them than libs. It is the best word. Even though I don't think all of them are even on that necessarily left wing all the time.
Sure of it.
I said predominantly, yeah, they are, but I think also it goes further than that, you know. These people who are ascribed to this very particular doctrine.
Where'd you come from?
I think it just happens that the like wokeists, you know, the wokeisms, people who've been fucking psyoped by that shit, are just the most apparent in there. I wish there was a better way to just like sum it all up, but I think part of its nature is that it tries to defy description, doesn't it? You know it when you see it, but it's hard to fucking put into words. Anyway, I'd say the wokeists, they're just the like most prominent, most visible manifestation of this particular way of thinking and way of being.
Where'd you come from? Done and done.
But everything is just contradictory. Everything they believe contradicts the last thing they believe, and they just somehow never confront this. not consciously anyway. I think it creates a lot of dissonance in their mind. It's where a lot of their mental illness comes from. You know, a lot of people who suffer from things like bipolar and depression, you know, they've been taught that it has like a chemical reason, brain chemical reason. It normally has some kind of hormonal source, but these things are all self-perpetuating, and that's just in that way. But also psychologically, you know, holding lots of contradictory views in your mind, lots of contradictory beliefs and opinions, damages your mind. Like, it's by no means like these people by no means are unaffected by all the fucking retarded fucking gymnastics they have to put themselves through to not fucking jump off a bridge. Like, I think that plays a lot into it, you know. Suicidal people, you know, they're suicidal because on some level they hate themselves, because they know what they're doing. Like, they know that they believe things that contradict the other things they believe, and they know that they would hate themselves if they believed that, if they understood that. And so they hate themselves, and they just have it for this inexplicable reason, and they blame it on other things. Oh, I've been through trauma, I've had hard things happen to me, my life's not been easy, my life's been so hard. You fucking retard. Like, what, people for fucking 200,000 years have existed on Earth very fucking happily, you know, and then what, in the last 100 years we just suddenly developed mental illness? Go fucking kill yourself, you fucking moron. Like, you look at like men from the past who clearly suffered from autism, when you like read about their little tics and obsessions and diet and all this stuff that they did. It's like, well, why were they not non-functional, you know? Why were they still able to like exist in the world as men? Because they had a fucking functioning endocrine system. They were physiologically healthy, and they were psychologically healthy, because they didn't have their brain being pumped full of contradictory ideas, where they were being browbeaten and told, no, you have to believe this, or you're bad, you're evil, you're bad. You have to believe this thing and this thing and this thing. If you don't believe all three of these things, you're bad. Or at the very least, this stuff was restricted within like a religious context, which kind of offsets it, you know, because you are believing in something higher, something righteous. And so it takes the mantle off yourself, you know. You don't end up blaming yourself for these things. You just say, well, I might not necessarily agree with this 100%, but it's the will of God, you know, it's the will of the Almighty. And so you're able to explain it to yourself, if you at least believe that. But these people don't believe in any higher power. They don't even believe that they're being fucking taught to believe these things, you know? They won't even admit that someone else's, you know, the other entities are making them believe these things. So, you know, good luck trying to convince them that they're not fucking... that the thoughts themselves are bad, you know? I honestly wish we could just reach into these people's brains and just save them, you know. I love them, man. There are people, you know, and we feel like many of them are just lost forever because of bullshit. Because of the bullshit they've been put through, you know, ever since fucking childhood. Childhood, they've had their fucking minds being raped day after day after day, program after program after program, after book after book, after lesson after lesson. I don't think it's weakness that they fell to it, you know. I don't hate them for it at all. I think there are many very smart people that fall into this stuff the same way. It's been very well crafted, and it's been very persistently, they've been very persistently assaulted with it, you know?
Where'd you come from?
Even the strongest walls will fall to the longest siege, you know? If you can't fucking break the walls down, you can at least starve out the residents.
We're getting close, I'm sure of it. There. I knew I heard something.
I think the problem a lot of you have, a lot of people on the right have, is that you hate these people. You call yourself Christians, but you hate these people. And not in a respected enemy kind of way. You hate them. And it comes off when you know, try and fucking communicate with these people. It comes off very strongly, you know, that you don't, whether you consider them saving or not, you know, it's very evident that you don't want to. Like, many of you have no interest in helping these people. You just want to own them. Maybe not you, but you know people who are like this. You know, they don't have any interest in helping or saving these people. They just want to defeat them. They want to feel like they're better than them, you know, because they haven't fallen for the fucking psyop, so we're somehow superior. When quite often they have just very lucky upbringings to thank for it, you know, the fact that they were just detached from it in some way, on some level. Offered us a level of independence from it, either by having parents who pulled them away from these things, or just being born and raised in a certain way that kept them away from these things. You need to recognize that, you know. Recognize your privilege. Except not in a fucking gay faggot woke way. In a, you would be just like those pathetic fucking people if you'd been forced to live like that, you know. I by no means think you would be, you know, a violent criminal if you were raised in the hood. Because I think you're weak, and I don't think you're even capable of that. But you most certainly would be a proponent of that which you hate so much. You already are, man. You know, balancing yourself in such rigid opposition, where all you can do is contradict things that you perceive to be from the other side and on the other side of things. You know, you're getting played. I've said this before. You're getting played just as much as anyone who fucking falls for it and defends it. But more than that, you know, when you hate these people, you know what, you think about it, man. You can feel it when someone hates you. It doesn't make you want to fucking listen to them, does it? It doesn't make you open to the things they have to say. And it, further than that, even just, it's not about, you know, turning them, you know, in one conversation, somehow turning them to your ideals or whatever. It's that you have to approach these things with love and with light. You know, you might own someone and crush them beneath your boot, you know, in one interaction or one communication or one situation. But you know in your heart that you don't hate this person, and you pray for this person. You pray for this person within the action of arguing with them, you know? When you do that, when you defeat someone in battle because you love them and because you want better for them, they might not stop in their tracks and say, "You're right, teach me, master." But they'll go away and they'll remember this, and they'll remember it, and they'll remember how you appeared to them and how you appealed to them, you know? Not like appealed to them like appealed to them, I mean like appealed to them, like were an attractive figure, whether they were able to understand it then and there or not. You know, you were someone with appeal, even if it makes them hate you, you know? As it will for some. Years down the road, they will think back on it. And you never know where someone will be then, you know? Will they remember an argument with a hateful, spiteful little wretch who was clearly arguing with them because he felt weak and was scared and was insecure? Or will they think back on it and will they remember someone who was strong and held their position and beat them basically out through the nature of just holding the high ground, you know, genuine high ground, and think back on it as that and allow themselves to be honest with themselves for the first time in their lives? That's how these changes happen, bro. That's how it happens. Very few people are open to just being taught and changed, you know. Outside the concept of like actually going to someone asking them to teach you, you know, like in going to school, etc. You don't get that. People don't have that. You don't just come across people online and just own them and they're fixed. Like, but you can position yourself to be that person that they think back on when they have been forced to reconsider their life position and their ethos, you know, and their beliefs. And they think back on you, and they think back on how you were right and how you were in the right. That's how you win. Not just by owning people out of spite again and again and again like some petty fucking dickhead. Oh my god, where is this stupid bitch? Why has she not come up here? Why has she not followed me up here, man? I pray for these people every day. I really do. And while it might feel hopeless, I'll never go out of my way to just engage in pointless fucking vitriol with either of you. It's the fact that so many do this that I feel like I can't subscribe to really anything, you know. I subscribe to the truth. That's all I care about, man. I don't really care about if it fits in with your fucking bollocks or their fucking bollocks. I care if it's right. I care if it's right and good.
Look at this
That's
place.
it.
This has to be it. I knew she was deep into necromancy.
I care if this
She
is
taught me
life,
everything I
you
know.
know.
And
this promotes life and creation, or does it just promote death and dismay and hate?
Look at all this. She must have spent years collecting these components. And what's this thing?